Small potatoes. Is it Alvidrez or Alvidrez? How do you want?
Alvidrez.
Alvidrez. Okay, I thought
Yes,
so,
sir.
but I wanted to make sure.
Is that Italian?
Oh, no, sir. I believe it's Mexican.
I love people with a sense of humor.
Oh yeah, man.
All right, bud. Here we go.
I really couldn't tell you honestly.
Well, I'm Italian, so we'll say it's Italian.
It might be Italian. Hell, who knows?
I don't know any Italian bull riders, so I'm going to claim you for us.
Here we go.
I've been claimed Brazilian, Mexican, American. I'll add it to the list.
There you go.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Hunt Proof app. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
That is right. I had to run in and get my drink. I almost had a heart attack.
That shit's worse than the Vax for you.
What?
Energy drinks.
This is a CBD drink, Jeff.
Liquid marijuana is not good for you.
That's not got nothing to do with marijuana.
Well, yes, it does.
CBD.
Yep.
All the benefits of marijuana without the
Benefits of marijuana.
Without the fun shit, I guess. No sugar, electrolytes.
Introduce my Italian friend.
Your Italian friend, Mr. the number one bull rider on the planet right now, Mr. Andrew Alvidrez. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm thankful, man. How are y'all doing?
So what is that like? Because this is a very, there's a lot of guys that do what you do, and you are the number one guy in the world right now. What's that like?
Oh, man, I've been visualizing and, I guess to say this in a confident manner, expecting this moment ever since I was a little kid that, now that I'm here, it's all part of the process. And, man, I'm just thankful to be part of it. It's a great feeling, man. But like I always say, at the end of May, that's when it's really going to count, when they hand over that gold buckle.
I don't know shit about bull riding. I'm 250 pounds, and there ain't a lot of 250-pound bull riders out there. I'm assuming you weigh about 150 pounds?
Yes, sir.
Yep, pretty close. That's the build to be a bull rider. So my question is, did your dad ride bulls? How'd you get into bull riding?
So no, actually my dad was a horse trainer and he was an amateur boxer. He trained racehorses growing up, as I recall. And really what got me into bull riding was the movie 8 Seconds. I believe at the time Blockbuster was around. My mom rented the movie 8 Seconds, and man, I was about 3 years old and I watched that movie every day. And 8 years old, I started getting on steers and took off from there.
So it's a passion of yours. Now you realize in that movie that Lane Frost, it's not really good.
You watched the end, didn't you?
Oh yeah, man. It is crazy. I talk about it because the movie's nothing, I guess to be happy about. It's about Lane Frost, his story, and him dying. And I thought it was pretty cool. It showed Tuff Hedeman, riding for Lane Frost at the end. But man, I don't know what about it was, but it definitely, made a big impact on me in my life. And I was actually telling a buddy the other day that I think what really gravitated me towards bull riding was, growing up, I just grew up in a small city, Seminole, Texas. I was around racehorses, but wasn't really, I guess you'd say, too comfortable around them. I don't know if y'all know, but racehorses are really skittish, really like hot blood, really wiry. They're a lot different from the rodeo horses y'all see. But, man, I was a timid, scared kid growing up. And when I saw, I guess, the movie 8 Seconds, I saw these rigid, tough men, that were staring pretty much fear in the face and nodding their heads for 8 seconds. So a lot about that movie, made a big impact on my life.
So take me through this. So you said May is when they hand the belt buckle over, and that's when a champion will be crowned. When does your season start?
So the season started this year in December. It used to be January all the way to, I believe, October, November, but they just installed the new team, the PBR team series. And that's at the later end of the year. So the individual season starts from December to May. And the PBR team series starts in June to October.
And will you be on the team series circuit also?
Yes, sir. I'm on the team Missouri Thunder.
So basically, you're looking at a 10-month season.
Oh yeah, it's all year, man. Even during the summer, summertime's the best time to ride bulls because you kind of have more freeway with where you decide to travel, where you decide to go. While during the Unleash the Beast season, top 35 in the world, we're obligated to be at the Unleash the Beast events. So, it's all year, man, every weekend.
And then what are you doing to stay in shape and to stay in peak performance? Because I mean, this is like a year-round thing. Like how do you find time to train and stay in shape?
So I treat every day just like if I'm at home, even when I'm on the road. First thing I do is I wake up, I hit the gym, whether that's stretching, HIIT training, mobility, plyometric training, whatever it is. And then during the day, I run my errands if I'm at home, and then I go back to training in the evening, get on some barrel work. I still like to do some boxing. That's still in my blood in a way. Riding horses, pretty much doing anything, cowboy related to keep me sharp. And man, I just all day, like after this podcast, I'm about to hit the gym. So it's an all day thing, man. Every day and throughout the year.
It's crazy whenever you think about the evolution of any sport. I mean, you look at baseball, football, bull riding. You look at the guys that played football and baseball back in the 70s, and like you had to drag them out of the bar to go play a baseball or a football game. And same thing with like the rodeos. Like, you'd have these tough-nosed guys that partied hard, and then, on Saturday night they jump on a bull. But now, just like all these other sports, the guys that are in bull riding treat it like it is a profession.
Oh, for sure, man. And that's true what you're saying. Back in the day, there used to be stories how when Bud Light sponsored the PBR, they bring a big old Bud Light, I guess you'd say cooler, big old Bud Light cooler. I'm sure y'all have seen the monster coolers,
Yeah.
The cylinder tanks. Well, it used to be a Bud Light cooler, and them guys after the bull riding would just drink beer and hang in that locker room. And, even to this day, there's a couple of guys who are pretty, I'd say they're rowdy, but it's getting to that point in the PBR where the bulls are getting so athletic, so strong that, you have to evolve. We have to start taking care of our bodies more because, injury it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly right. Like not pretty much. I'd say every bull rider in that locker room now is doing some type of physical training, some type of mental training to prepare for the weekend. So it's changing fast.
I've got a question for you. I was looking at your paychecks that you have. Everything's online now, and you had a couple of nights you won over $40,000, and you had a bunch of nights you won $0, and you had some when you won $600 or $500. Do you get paid an appearance fee for showing up?
So they used to do that, but no longer anymore. The rules kind of changed. Every year they change, but yeah, there used to be appearance fees, but no longer now. But yeah, that's bull riding, man. When you do your job, you ride your bull for 8 seconds, you get paid, and when you don't do your job, you don't get paid. So it's a little different than other sports.
What about now? You have sponsors, I guess. Do your sponsors then? So you're getting a check from your sponsors each month, or however that works, I guess. Correct?
Yes, sir. I'm sponsored by Tack Hunt Fish and Bass Pro shops, and they take care of me throughout the year.
Well, that's a good check to get then every month.
Yeah.
Now, I don't watch a lot of rodeos. I'm not gonna lie, but I do watch what's the one in Fort Worth that's fixing to come up? The American, the All American, or the American? Which one is it? Is it the American?
The American.
Yes, sir.
Are you riding in that?
Unfortunately, not this year, just because of the PBR events. They're falling on the same days of the American when it comes to qualifying for the American. And I could miss a PBR to, participate in the American. But, man, in the position I'm in, and I'm already traveling so much throughout the year, I'd rather get a gold buckle and that $1 million bonus than the American.
Yeah, I could understand that. What gets me about the American is they let guys fucking do barrel racing. And to me, I think that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, man, it's a little odd. I grew up watching only women.
Women and little kids.
Yeah, if you can't get a camel toe, you shouldn't be riding a fucking barrel horse. I'm just the way it goes, I think. And I think most everyone agrees with me except for the guy that's doing the barrel racing.
He's saying fuck you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'll say this: if you do barrel racing and you're in that locker room, man, they're gonna.
They should. Damn well they talk shit behind his back everywhere he comes to too.
Watch this tough cowboy get on that horse and ride it between those barrels.
Oh shit, man! You should hear like growing up in like high school rodeo days. Like we used to call the ropers and all the guys who had horse trailers. We call them timies, and they call those roughies. The roughies were the ones to get on the rough stock, and man, there wasn't, I guess, a bad blood, but there was a lot of shit talking and beef. We used to say that the only reason women like the timies is for the money. And when they want something on the side, they'll get a roughie.
What is the easiest job in pro rodeo? Of all the events that they do, other than barrel racing, what is and I'm going to catch some women, going to catch some shit because we have a couple barrel racing women that listen to this. So I'm going to hear some shit for that.
I don't think it's very physically demanding.
No, what's the easiest of all the pro rodeo sports?
Man, I don't know if I'd say easiest. But I definitely say the less taxating on the body would be roping. Because, man, you can, especially team roping, you could see them guys, they're out, they're out of shape. It looks like they drink beer behind the back pans and wait for their name to get turned up. I'm not a rope. I don't know what they do at home. I know they rope 1,000 calves and steers a day, but I say, man, team roping just because majority of the time, you're just sitting in your saddle.
So let me ask you this kind of similar line of questions. What is the one that you would not want to do?
I would not want to do barrel racing.
That's easy. Well,
I'll do like I team rope with my buddies, man, when we're just bullshitting around, but I'll do anything when it comes to roping or, rough stock, but I don't know about barrel racing. I ain't chasing no cans.
You'll do the mugging and all that stuff, no problem.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'll be good at it, but I think it'd be pretty fun.
You wouldn't have any hesitation doing it.
Doing like steer dog and all that.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean we get some steers. I mean, when I was in high school and college rodeo, we used to load the steers in the the chutes and. We just get one arm around the horn and the other around the horn, and we just let that steer take off, and you try to turn them. You'd be surprised, man. It's a lot of technique more than strength.
I bet that's exactly right.
I can't remember who was doing it, but yeah, there's like a certain technique to, and if once you get it, everything's pretty easy. And I guess it's kind of that way with anything.
What about God dang it!
It was Pat McAfee. I saw Pat McAfee recently. He did that on a steer and. You could see the guys in the back that had been teaching him, like they were basically like moving their hips as he was moving his hips, and that's when it just went bloop, right over on him.
Ranch rodeos.
Yeah, those are wild.
Have you ever been a ringer on a ranch rodeo team?
No, sir, I haven't. I've seen them, but I haven't had the opportunity to do it.
The wild cow milking is my favorite event there because someone's going to get their ass wrecked on that every time.
Oh yeah, I used to watch the, I don't know what they call it, but they'll load the buffalo, the buffalo riding, and them guys would jump on that buffalo. Bunch of wild.
What's funny is on the wild cow milking is you got to run with the beer bottle, and they always rope the cow on the other side of the fucking arena, and somebody like Bucky Nail's got to run across it. That some bitch is plumb tuckered out by the time he gets there.
I'm surprised more people don't get really hurt at those things because it's a lot of out of shape cowboys that have had too many Coors Lights in their life, and then they get together and Yeah, I imagine Monday morning there's a lot of pulled hammies and a lot of sore backs after these ranch rodeos.
Oh, 100%, man. And y'all know the pride of cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
If they're hurt, they ain't gonna let you know.
No.
Now, do you wear a helmet?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good for you. I'm proud of you for that. And a vest.
Yes, sir.
Is any
yes,
of that mandated, or could you go out there without a vest and without a helmet?
So they just made a rule a couple years ago that if your birthday is born after 1994, you have to wear a helmet. But vests have, I don't know when they started mandatory in the vest, but yeah, vests are required no matter what. But as long as you're born before 94, you can wear a hat instead of a helmet.
If you're born before 94, your ass don't need to be on a bull no more, probably.
Would you?
I don't know. There's a guy named Ejne Camines, man. He's 47 years old, and he's made the World Finals last year. He was on the Ariat Rattlers team, and man, he kicked ass. He's a different breed, man. He's also from Brazil, so that says a lot.
Shit, he might really be 62. You don't know.
I don't even. Yeah, they don't even have running water down there. So, like, who knows about their birth certificate? But hold on. If you had the option, would you just wear a hat, or are you going helmet?
Personally, man, I'd stick with the helmet.
Good for you.
Just because, my whole life of riding, I started with the helmet, and I guess I'd say my style of riding, man, it's not the prettiest. It's a lot of grit, and when you ride with that kind of style, you get in situations where you pretty much you risk it for the biscuit, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes they're cracking you in the mouth. I've been hit enough, in the face and jaw that if I didn't have that helmet on, I'd probably be missing a lot of teeth.
So you do have some pretty teeth. So those are real. Those are like store-bought teeth.
Those are yours?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. I wear mouthpiece and everything.
So if you didn't wear that helmet, you'd had your ass knocked out many times.
Oh yeah, man. I've been knocked out with the helmet on, so I can only imagine without it, I probably wouldn't be here.
What's the biggest wreck you've ever had?
It was in 2020 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I broke my neck.
Shit.
I broke my C7 vertebrae, my neck, and it kept me out for about 7 months, and I was unable to attend to my first World Finals in 2020. So it was a rough.
Did your mom watch you ride?
Yes, sir. She does.
Oh, I bet she's a nervous fucking wreck.
Oh yeah, I think my dad's more of a nervous wreck. He used to pull my bull rope when I was younger, and even when I was younger, man, I could see his knees shaking.
Have you seen the video? A kid gets knocked out, and his dad jumps in the arena. The clowns are trying to get the bull away, but the bull turns back around and sees the kid laying there knocked out, and the dad jumps in and like basically puts underhooks under his arm and just takes it from the bull.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I've seen that video, man, and you'd be surprised how many times I've seen that happen.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Me and my buddy Zeke and a guy named Tyler, one of our buddies, Scrawny, got knocked out in Oklahoma, and we all jumped on him. It's one of those things, man. When you travel with a group set of guys for so long, you develop a family, camaraderie. And when you see one of your buddies, laying there on the ground, you ain't got to think about it, man. You jump on him, and if the bull wrecks you out, he wrecks you out. But it's definitely worth the risk.
Brotherhood,
so, yeah,
brotherhood between men is amazing.
Sir?
Brotherhood between men is amazing. Women don't. I don't think women have that kind of bond that guys get with each other. That are like a group of firemen or policemen. And there's women cops and firemen. I'm not being sexist here, but there's just a unique. There's a unique soldiers. Teammates. You guys riding in bulls. It becomes a bond that it's really hard for people to understand. And that's a pretty unique deal, and it's really interesting. What
when you broke your neck, was it from the whiplash or was it from the fall?
So yeah, I went over his shoulder and pretty much I hit the top of my head. Like that's the first thing that made contact.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the crunch and I got up running, checking to see if I could move my fingers and toes because I had a grandpa actually who broke his C2 and C4, I believe. And, he was handicapped and bedridden for the remainder of his life. So as soon as I broke my neck, it was kind of a scare, like, okay, make sure everything's moving. got x-rays 2 days later, after the weekend, and sure enough, broke my neck. So it was pretty nerve-wracking.
What about, did you have a concussion that night or just your neck?
No concussion that night, just my neck. But I've had multiple concussions. I try not to keep track of them.
If you had to guess, how many do you think that you've had? Let's talk about that. Do you think that you've had any this year?
This year, no, not this year. I'm very thankful for that. Last year, for sure. I've had concussions, man, since I was probably 10 years old.
Well, and you've been boxing. You grew up boxing too, so like double win.
Yeah, I grew up boxing, and really, I don't think I ever took a serious concussion from boxing because most of the time, we were always sparring in the gyms. We weren't really laying to each other. But bull riding, man, I remember, I was 12 years old. Bull slammed me on the side of my head, and my parents were actually there, and I kept asking them the same question over and over again. So, man, for sure, more than 15. Wow. I've had quite a few, but man, God keeps taking care of me.
Are you worried at all about like CTE? Because I mean, the more years go by, we're starting to see like more professional football players developing, CTE and stuff like that. Are you worried about anything like that later on in life? Or no risk,
to be honest,
no biscuit?
Man, no. I'm honestly not worried about it at all, man. And this could be my ego or pride talking to me about this, but I'm a firm believer that the body is its own pharmaceutical.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, I do ice baths religiously. I work out every day. I watch what I eat. I take care of my temple as best as I can. And I'm just a firm believer that God wouldn't give us this body, if it couldn't take care of itself. And I feel like the mind has to do a lot with, like if you're stressed all the time, negative, and you're down in the dumps, I even believe that kind of thinking can make you sick in general.
Sure, absolutely.
And like, for example, even like with the COVID deal, I talk about it confidently. My wife had COVID. She couldn't taste, smell, or nothing. I stayed in the house with her all week, during lockdown, and I never got it. No symptoms, no nothing. I take my ice baths. I run. I take care of myself, man. So that's another reason why, man, I just have no fear, because I trust in God that much.
Let me ask you about the ice bath, because this is something that I'm going to do this off season. How? What?
I've seen you in a swimming pool. This would be funny.
What do you mean?
I've seen you in a pool. You don't even like water.
It's a bath.
I understand that. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Well, how long are you doing this for in one sitting? You do it every day, right?
Yes, sir. So I have two ways I like to do it. From the weekend, like today, I'll do cold for 2 minutes and hot for 2 minutes, and I'll be jumping in and out for a total of, I think it'll come out to 10 minutes each. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and on cold. Now that's for recovery whenever I come back from the weekend. Mm-hmm. When I'm heading out towards the weekend, I'll just do a straight 10-minute cold bath. That's it.
That's a long time to have your boys dunked in the water.
Now hold on. What are we doing here? Are we putting ice in this, or are we just like turning the water on cold itself? Like, how are we doing this? Tell me.
It's ice.
We're filling that whole bath full of ice and water, and it's going to be about 30 to 40 degrees. We try to hit 30.
You try to hit 30.
So you putting 50-pound bag of ice in the water with you?
Pretty much, man. With the gym I go to at Fit and Wise here in Decatur, they have this huge ice machine, and you just keep filling that tub till it's nothing but ice and water.
Okay, Andy, I'll volunteer to do the ice for this first time.
Huh?
You ain't making no 10 minutes. Your ass be lucky to get 30 seconds in that some bitch.
No, hold on.
Your balls will crawl in your asshole. Jeff, it's so cold.
Jeff, I've been researching this. So there's a guy that goes on Rogan a lot. His name's Andrew Huberman.
Remember, you told us the Liver King was real.
I never told you the Liver King was real. He is real. He
he's a real fake.
He's not natural though.
Okay.
There is a study out of Scandinavia, I believe, and
it's cold there.
They documented that if you have 11 minutes a week, it doesn't have to be all in one sitting. The positive benefits that you see in your life. So each time you get each time you do the cold plunge, your dopamine production increases 2.5 times. And it lasts about 5 hours. Dopamine is your feel-good chemical that goes around in your brain. It lasts 5 hours, and it's 2.5 times stronger than what you would normally get. And obviously, you are more resistant to cold weather. Boost your immunities. Brown fat, which is good fat that you want to have around you, your body starts producing more of that. And so the way I figured it, I can do it 3 times a week, 4 minutes a time, and that will be I'll actually be over 11 minutes.
I do 11 minutes every week right now.
Right.
I do. I get in the hot tub every day.
Oh.
I'm telling you, I stand out in the cold fucking weather. It was 25 degrees last night.
It's got to be an ice bath. It's got to be direct contact on your skin.
So you can't just be free balling it on your back porch for a minute or two after you get out of the hot tub. Does not count, right?
Doesn't count.
Okay.
Doesn't count.
So when you do this, so you're doing, do you do 11? What's the longest you stay in the ice bath?
Man, I hit 10 minutes. Whenever I do just straight ice bath, it's 10 minutes. I don't know if y'all heard of Wim Hof.
Yeah.
Wim Hof is kind of the guy.
He's the guy.
Got me. Yes, sir. And ever since I started watching him, it really inspired me to adding ice baths into my life.
He was talking about, did his wife pass away or something like that? And he was just in this really dark and depressed state. And he said he was walking by the ocean and it was like middle of the winter or something. And he said something inside of him just called him to get in the water. And he got in the water and like cured his depression.
So do you do 10 minutes? Honestly, the first time you did it, was it hard to stay there for 10 minutes? Was you watching the clock countdown?
It's miserable every time, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't watch the clock the first time I did it, but the first time I did it, man, I did 2 minutes. I progressed. I started with my hips because I was trying to heal a groin injury, and then I went to my shoulders. But man, for me, I hate the cold. I mean, I'm not even a fan of this weather we got going on here in Texas. It's something that I forced myself to do just because of the benefits.
The first time I heard of ice baths was the football team. When you were in high school, y'all did ice baths, didn't y'all? That's the first time I'd ever heard of it. It's supposed to be a good thing, and you see more and more people doing it. But I'm telling you right now, for you to do it for 10 minutes, that's some grit, boy. That's tough.
Yeah, man, it's pretty hard. If you ever see me doing it, I sound like a train breathing out like crazy. I mean,
have you seen? There's videos of Joe Rogan doing it. Have you seen him doing it? It looks torturous.
What about?
Oh yeah.
What about what's the cold cryogenics?
Cryogenics. Cryotherapy.
Is it cryotherapy or cryotherapy?
Cryotherapy. That's what Antonio Brown burned himself on, right?
Well, who knows? A matter of some crackhead's pipe with him. Who knows? But yeah, supposedly that's what he did. But that right there gets down to what, 300 or 400 below zero or something?
Way low.
Have you done that ever?
Oh yeah, yes sir. I've done the cryo, and man, I'll be honest. I think the ice baths hurt more than the cryo. I've heard the cryo is more beneficial because it gets way colder. But man, there's something about
200.
Like I got in. Sir?
230 below zero.
I don't know if it's below that zero. I do know that it was way colder than the ice bath from what they were telling me. But, man, the ice bath feels, harder to me. And I think it's because it's almost like a mental toughness thing. Like with the cryo, I stood in there for 5 minutes just standing up, and I felt fine, felt good. But, man, for some reason, an ice bath, your bones hurt. Like you got needles. There's something mentally about the ice bath that, I love. It's like you have to constantly force yourself every single time.
Well, and it's also something that you have to like force I've never done the cryotherapy, but I'm assuming you get in, they close the door around you, cold. And like it just kind of happens. The ice bath is something that you, like you said, you have to force your body to go deeper and deeper into that bath. It starts out at your feet, and then it goes up to your ankles, and then to your knees, and then to your dick. And then you got to be like, no, like we're going to our neck. And like you have to force your body into that uncomfortable and just, like you said, pins and needles.
You are one tough little Italian. I'm telling you right now, if I had to choose between dunking my boys in the ice bath for 10 minutes.
So you're not going to do this challenge with me?
Or jumping on a bull, I might choose a fucking bull. And I don't even want to ride the fucking little 25-cent devil horse that runs outside of a convenience store. No. I don't know what I would do because that's tough. I've seen you, Andy, get in my swimming pool, and it takes you 5 minutes to get from your knees to your balls because you're it's cold, and that's not even cold. That's tough.
We're gonna do this, Jeff.
Me
and Jesse.
Well, that's
me and my wife.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you buy this ice, you tight ass.
Well, I'm gonna rig up a pool. Want to rig something up? There's all sorts of stuff now. You can
Go-
go on. You can go online.
Go to Tractor Supply.
Yeah, a lot of people just get like an old cattle trough and kind of put a pump or something in it and just keep her going that way.
There's a lady that lifts weights on my Instagram, and I can't think of her name. And she's 4 years ago, she was kind of an attractive lady, or however long I've been on Instagram, and she works out religiously. She shows her pictures. She looks like a whole different person, and she was not a bad-looking lady 4 years ago, but she's ripped her muscles, and she does ice baths all the time. It shows her getting in the ice bath and all that stuff, and I'm like, bitch, you're tougher than I am.
See there, Jeff?
That's tough. So what's I want to talk to you about some bulls. I watch rodeo every once in a while. What's the nastiest bull out there right now? There's a bull that nobody can ride hardly, and I can't remember its name. And when you say it, I'll know it. What's the baddest bull out there right now?
I'd say right now it's a little early in the season to see the race, but right now I'd say it's either Dennis the Menace or, man, there's so many. There's like every year, man, there's like a race for the baddest bull of the year, but right now I'd say Dennis the Menace. Now, I honestly don't try to keep track of the bulls.
You don't
just because you don't want that mental edge to go to the bull?
Well, the way I see it, man, is, well, there's a few ways I see it. One, the bull, it has his own mind, man. You know what I mean? Like a bull, yeah, it could do a certain pattern, a couple times, but majority of the time when you nod your head, that bull has a mind of his own and he's going to do what he wants. Another reason I don't pay attention to the bulls is because I don't believe there's really a reason to. That bull doesn't give a shit, if I'm number one in the world. I don't give a shit if he's unridden, or how many buck-offs, and I feel like it simplifies a lot of things, in your head, because bull riding, like I always say, it's simple but not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can break down bull riding to a T when it comes to form and all that. But when it comes to actually riding the bull, I always tell people, find the middle, fight for the middle, make it simple as possible. And that's bull riding in a nutshell.
And what do you mean find the middle? Just don't get too far one side or the other. Don't get too far front, back, right, left. Just stay. Is that what you mean?
Sure. Oh, yeah. So pretty much when you get in the back of that buck and shoot, and you nod your head, that bull is either going to go left, right, straight, or whatever, and he's going to get you out of position. Well, your job is to ride that bull for 8 seconds. So all you have to do is every time that bull is moving, you shoot for that middle position. And it takes a while to develop that skill over time. But anytime bull rocks me out of position, I'm shoving my hips right back to the middle. Doesn't always work, right, but majority of the time it does.
So I just looked it up. The top 3 bulls are Ricky Vaughn, Dennis the Menace, and Cool Whip.
Yep.
Cool
That
Whip.
sounds about right.
Cool Whip name's a fucking big ass bull.
Cool Whip is 8 outs and 8 buck-offs. I don't know how he's number 3 though. I don't know how they score this, because I'm like Jeff.
So with the bull, the way they score the bull is how vertical, from being up, being down, how vertical he bucks, how fast is his spin, how tight is the spin, how much air he's getting in the air. So a lot of it, it's based on the judge's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
For majority of the time, man, they're pretty accurate about it. Like, you want a bull to be stretched out and pretty much licking his ass by the time you nod your head.
Bull riding is about like pro baseball. I noticed you're the number 1 bull rider in the world, and you've 32% of the bulls you've stayed on this year. And that is a great, if you average 32% for the year, you're going to be a rich man when it's over, won't you be?
I think actually that's the goal right there, but I'll just brag on this real quick. So that statistic couldn't have been old, because last year I was 32%. And I believe when I left Indiana, I was riding at 62%.
Wow. That's phenomenal then, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yeah, that's the goal, man. The more you stay on these bulls, the more you get paid.
Now, when can this is going to go on another 4 or 5 months. Like, is there going to be a time in the season where you kind of feel like, okay, I've got this gold buckle in the bag, or are we always just going to have that grinding out mentality?
I'm going to have the grind out mentality till I die, man. Because, I if y'all met my family, y'all kind of understand, but I come from a big work ethic family. my dad had me working out when I was 8 years old. I was working in, I was with the roustabout crews in the oil field by the time I was 16 in the summer. So what I've learned from my experiences is even when you do win that gold buckle, can you do it again?
No, yeah.
And after that, can you do it again? So, I'm pretty aware that no matter where we go in life, I always say this: winning and the grind is like the fresh breath air. Yeah, your first breath is important, but it's not as important as your second breath. So throughout life, we're constantly chasing that second breath. And I feel like that's just the reality of the world, because I feel like if we get content and become stagnant, that's when we begin to drop.
Is this pretty close analogy? Bull riders come into bull riding poor, most of them. Ropers come into to rodeos. Most of them come from families with lots of money. Is that true?
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah,
that's the ones I've known.
I always say this: you'll never see a world champion bull rider who grew up with money. I
bet that's true.
They don't have that grit.
Yeah, exactly, man. You can't. And you see some guys, down the road where, it's not their fault, but, their daddies became, successful and, got them bulls and pretty much paved the way for them. And they have all the resources and tools. I even grew up around guys who had every resource a bull rider could dream of, every tool a bull rider could dream of. While my dad was bucking me in my backyard on a metal bucky, that's all I had for practice. And there's something about bull riding, man, when it comes to that grit and heart. Like, you can't teach it. It's either developed, through you growing up, or, you have to learn it somehow. But every guy I've seen down the tour, everyone in that locker room, man, they've worked their asses off. And, man, some of them have the most incredible stories. Like, I feel like my story is amateur shit, when it comes to them guys' stories, like there's so many guys that have been through so much trauma to get where they're at now. It's really humbling, man. Like, for example, I was at a practice pen one time and a Brazilian came up to me showing me his shoes. He was so ecstatic to tell me about his shoes. And I finally asked one of the Brazilians, I said, man, why is he so excited about his shoes? And he told me, Andrew, he's never owned a pair of shoes until he got here.
Yeah. Wow.
So that to me, that just shows me how hungry these guys, who come from a third world country in poverty. America poverty is a lot different than a third world country poverty.
You can still get a fucking cell phone on American poverty.
That's right, exactly. So when you see someone, come, to talk to you, just, man, look at my shoes, and you can see the joy in their eyes, you then realize, oh wow, you think you want it.
Yeah.
There's a guy over here that's used to starving and he wants it.
Yeah, my fucker never had a pair of shoes before. That's right.
Yeah, man. And that's why I just put so much emphasis on the grind, because, I grew up, in the greatest country in the world, and I'm thankful for that. But I'm very aware, man, there's some people out there who are born less privileged and they want what you want. And it all comes down to who's going to be the hungriest.
I saw a video on something, but it was a kid. He's in Africa or something, and like he wants to be a professional catcher, and like he basically makes his own equipment, and then like he doesn't even have a glove. Like he's got like some shitty something that he's made with just like leather, and like he's just grinding it out. And
did somebody send him a glove? I hope.
I don't know. But I mean, that just goes back to what you said. Like this kid, like he's not going to take no for an answer. And then you've got kids over here that go to D-bats, and they go to all the big high-end baseball coaches to figure out how to be a catcher, and then they wash out. But then you just got this kid that's not going to take no for an answer.
Yeah, some poor Dominican Republican kid's going to be in the majors way before these rich kids are.
Right. Because those rich kids ain't got that dog in them.
No, that dog. And like, growing up, I grew up around some cowboys. And I'm telling you right now, if I ever got in a fight at a bar somewhere, I wanted my buddies that were bull riders and bronc riders on my side. I didn't want them fucking roper on my side, because a couple of them I knew wasn't going to do nothing but stand in the back and watch you get your ass beat.
Steal your girl.
Yeah. The barrel racing chicks would fight more than them would.
That's no lie, man. Like, when I used to go out, quite a bit after the events, man, and I'll tell you, you get 35 guys, bull riders, in one city. We're I don't even know the word to call it, man. We're taking over, like
Degenerates.
Oh yeah, degenerates, man. Like it's so crazy how much, we used to get away with. Like I remember one time we were in Oregon and we couldn't find a parking on this balcony of a hotel. We couldn't find a parking, and my buddies were like, well, the only parking available, that statue is taking it up. There's this big ass Buddha statue taking up this parking. I ain't gonna say their names, but my two buddies were like, man, fuck that Buddha statue. They picked the Buddha statue up and threw it over the balcony. Threw it over. A big ass statue hits the ground, breaks into a million pieces. Jeez. The owner comes out. We've had that for 15 years. We're calling the cops. I gave them a fake room number, and we got in the car and we bounced out, man.
What's it like in Vegas when all you guys end up in Vegas? Is it just craziness?
Yeah, for damn sure. I mean, there's more, I guess you'd say, a business mentality towards it. Like me, I always wait to the very last day to have a Vegas time, But man, there's guys that you'll see them wake up in the morning, they'll be playing blackjack, and then sure enough, that evening you'll see them putting the rope on the bull. So there's a bunch of different personalities, man. I've learned to be real strict with my lifestyle because I'm an extremist, man. I'm either working out every day or we're gonna have a good time every day.
What's the biggest paycheck you've cashed?
Biggest paycheck I've cashed was probably, man, I couldn't even tell you. Riding wise, my wife is actually here pulling it up. Yeah, it'd be Albany. It was 46,000.
Nice
do you remember when you first started and you were living paycheck to paycheck and wondering how you was going to get from one event to the next?
Oh man, I remember, man, whenever shit was going south, I was praying to God one day and I said, God, I'm giving it to you. I don't give a damn anymore if I'm successful at this shit. I'll be a bum riding bulls, because bull riding to me is what brought me joy and fulfillment. And man, yeah, it's hard road, man. Me and my wife, whenever we were dating, we drove to Canada when I only had literally probably, $800 in my checking account. And we drove from Texas to New Brunswick, Canada, 38-hour drive. And thank God I pulled a check there, because that's how we got home.
What was the plan if you didn't pull a check?
God's hands.
You figure it out on the way, man.
Figure it out.
You got to burn all ships. That's my motto. You burn all ships where you have no retreat.
And there's a lot of guys doing that right now. That it's kind of like Matt Hughes, the UFC fighter. I asked him one time, he was hunting with us. I said, he was talking about being in the airport and everybody asking him for autographs everywhere he went. And I said, do you remember the first time you fought and nobody asked you for an autograph? He said, yeah, and I never forget that every time I sign an autograph. Because once you get down that road, it's easy. But a lot of people forget about how hard it was before. They don't realize. People forget about their struggles sometimes.
Oh, man. I'll tell you this, man. When I was struggling the most in bull riding was actually the most fun I had bull riding. Like, man, when you're struggling trying to get to these events, you'll have 4 or 5 guys in one car jamming into a car. Them 4 or 5 guys will, put their money together to spend it on a room. Some guys get the bed, some guys get the floor. But, man, like, you're living free. Like that's what I always say, yeah, I was struggling with money in the beginning, but it didn't seem like it because I was free. I was traveling from one state to the other state. And as long as I had money for fuel, gas, and to my entry fee, I was a rich man.
That's right.
And still a rich man. Like, bull riding is a lifestyle that you won't realize you're poor because of how much experiences you're getting through this lifestyle.
If you enjoy what you're doing, life sure makes life a whole lot easier. If with you're poor or rich. Rich is just being an icing on the cake.
Yes, sir. 100%. Like now, I'm very thankful I'm in the position where money's not an issue, but I still crave those moments where we were, stuffing ourselves into a van and car and just hitting the road. No responsibilities, no nothing. Just hit the road, man. It's the best.
Now, what was the longest you were ever gone for?
Oh man, I've lived in a lot of different states for several weeks.
Yeah.
Like the way we used to travel was if we had a bull ride in Montana, this weekend, we drive to Montana, stay in Montana to the next event, and then you drive to that next event from Montana. Or you just find out where it's at and you get at least close to it within like a 2-hour radius, for traveling. A lot of pretty much finding out where your buddies live in the States. Like, hey, man, I'm headed to New York. You mind if I crash at your place for a couple of days? And that's how you get around, man.
Now you're flying first class everywhere, right?
No, not first class. I'm still a tight ass.
Sure is nice sitting at the front of the airplane, though.
Oh, yeah, man. I'll fly more, but man, I'm still a tight ass when it comes to all that kind of stuff.
Now, take me into the locker room. What is it like when the right before you're about to ride? So you get there. What time do you get there? So let's say the event's at 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yes,
like
sir.
what time are you going to get there? What's your day going to look like on a day that you got to ride?
So I wake up in the morning. First thing to do is work out, train. And then I come, back to the room, get some food, and then after lunch, we'll come back and I'll do my Bible affirmations and Wim Hof breathing. I'll either take a cold shower with that Wim Hof breathing technique or lay on my bed and meditate. And then I'll probably head to the event around 2 hours before the event starts. I like that 2-hour, window.
What do you try to do there? Do you try to walk around or do you just go straight to the locker room and start mentally preparing?
So as soon as I get there, I like to shake everyone's hand in the locker room, as a form of respect, because in a way, we're all gladiators of some sort trying to earn our freedom. And, put my gear up, my bull rope up, bullshit quite a bit, and about an hour, from the event starting, that's when the routine really happens when it comes to warming up, putting your gear on. It's really funny. We always bullshit around how we put on all this gear for 8 seconds and then gotta take it all off.
So what all will you wear? You got your vest, you got your helmet, but like what all are you taping up and bracing and all that other good stuff?
Oh yeah. So first thing I do is I put my compression shorts on. I think they're called bioskins. They're really good for your groins because in the sport of bull riding, groin tears they're gonna happen. I like to put I got some knee pads, pretty much like football knee pads. Whenever you're in the buck and shoot, when you're surrounded by metal, they help a lot.
Yeah.
Then I put my boots on, my spurs, my, boot straps. I got my Wrangler jeans and, my chaps. I'm pretty fortunate, man. I'm still young, the only thing I really tape up is my wrists for precaution. Like, if you interviewed some of them older guys, man, they got 2 knee braces, an elbow brace, they got shoulder braces. It's funny because the older I get, I find out my warm-ups are longer and I'm having to tape more stuff up. So
what and I'm assuming that you put everything. I'm sure you have an order on which you put everything on. Did I get
Yes,
that
sir.
right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%. People don't fuck with their routine. Like I'm the same way. Like when I got to go do a hunt, like I'm getting dressed the same way. Like I'm doing everything the exact same.
Oh yeah, and really, I couldn't tell you, like right now, what the routine, what my routine is, because when I get there, man, it's all in the back of my head. It's just like second nature to me. I ain't got to think about it.
Everything's in motion. What? So there's a time limit now there's a shoot time limit now, right? And that was put in place because of the Brazilians. Am I mistaken?
No, man.
Because
it's exactly,
they think that they try to tire out the bull a little bit more in the shoot, right?
So the reason I believe they made that rule up is because of a bull rider named Silvano Alvidrez. And Silvano Alvidrez is one of the 2 guys who has 3 world titles. Mm-hmm. So he has the record right now for world titles. And he's a guy, man, that I believe they made that rule up for because when the guy wins 3 world titles every single year, you got to stop him somehow, I guess. It's a shitty way to say it, but literally that's why the rule was made for, because this guy was so dominating that, I feel like they almost had to add some type of, I don't know what to call it.
They had to figure out a way to where he wouldn't. But if you look at his videos, do you think that the bull's performance was diminished by him stalling on it in the buck and shoot?
So it could be yes or no, because I've also seen the same scenario happen with an American guy getting on a bull. But I think what it is that, when you're born in America, you're really used to the bulls being here. They're real sporadic, they're real hyper, hot blooded, trying to hook you. Over there in Brazil, the bulls are majority Bramer, and Bramers are majority docile. They really don't move a whole lot in the buck and shoot. So I feel like when the Brazilians come over to the States, they're not used to a bull trying to get after them in the buck and shoot. So I feel like it's more of just the experience of being on bulls, because I've had bulls try to flip over on me, in the buck and shoots. They're trying to hook you while you're getting down on them. Shoot, I've even had one kick my foot while I was on top of them.
How does it do that?
Yeah, they cow kick you. They'll bring that rear leg up and just hit you in the back of the foot.
Really?
Like, just think about this: if a bull can feel a fly on his back,
true.
he knows exactly where you are on their back. So, and I think that's what it is, man. Why that roll clock came in, because a lot of them Brazilians, they're just spending too much time in that box. I don't think it was in the sense to make the bull, weaken, because really, if your bull doesn't perform, you're still not going to get paid.
Right.
Like, you could your bull and be 80 points flat. Well, in the PBR, 80 points ain't gonna get you shit,
Right. What is the time limit? How many seconds do you have in the shoot?
So then again, it comes down to the damn judge. It's all about the judge's opinion. Hopefully he woke up on the good side of bed that day, and he'll let you do your pretty much routine in the box to get ready. But once he feels like you've stood in there too long, he'll put you on that 30-second timer. And from then on, you have 30 seconds to get out.
No matter what the bull's doing, if the bull's acting like a shithead or anything like that, you got 30 seconds. Once the judge says, okay, you've done your routine, you need to nod your head. It doesn't matter what's going on. Like at 30 seconds, will they just open the fucking shoot, or can you still got to nod your head?
No, they won't open the shoot unless you nod. Okay. But the time, once we start seeing 5 seconds, 4, yeah, you might as well just nod. And it sucks, man, because that could put us, in a lot of danger. I've seen a lot of guys get wrecked out just trying to get out of there in a hurry.
Now, have there ever been a time where you were getting in the chute and then the bull kind of acted a little ornery and you were like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know what's up his ass today.
Oh yeah, man. Like, I grew up in West Texas, and when you grow up getting on bulls in West Texas, nothing's shoot broke. They're all green. They're all trying to lay down, buck in there. So I feel like I've had an advantage in a sense, because now when I get on bulls, I'll take a bull laying down in the buck and shoot. Oh yeah, I think it's an advantage, because when that chute opens, it takes them 1 second to get to that. So in a way, you're taking a second from that bull. So, but it's different.
I'm not a bull riding history guy, but I mean, what was it that made Lane Frost Lane Frost? Was it marketing, or how did he become this icon in bull riding? I mean, is there a certain style that he had that made people gravitate towards him, or was he just this good looking young guy that was tearing it up on the bull riding circuit?
So I think it was 2 things. One was he rode this unrideable bull called Red Rock. And I believe at the time had like 365 buck offs. And then another thing I think that made him so famous too was, the fact that he died
young.
I didn't want to say that,
yes,
but that was my answer. He died.
What about so when he was here, why was he so good at what he did?
I don't think he was any better than a lot of guys to now.
Other than riding Red Rock.
He died.
I understand that.
Yeah. He rode Red Rock, and I think he rode him like 3 times, like covered him. But I've heard stories, man, that he wasn't even the best out of that group. I heard Jim Sharp was the best bull rider out of that whole group. Out of Tough, Cody, Lane. I heard Jim Sharp was the best.
And
he was a good bull rider. Like we have a lot of good bull riders now, but he died and it made him a
riding Red Rock and then him passing on.
Well, I don't think it. That,
and I mean, I understand now he's got this legend.
And they made
status.
a movie about him.
I understand that, but I wondered while he was alive, how was he so good? I did not know, but like I said, I'm not a bull riding history guy, so I had not heard that about Jim Sharp.
He was just a professional bull rider. Did he ever win the NFR?
Yes, sir. I believe it was in '86.
So he did win. He did win the championship one year.
Yes, sir. He was a world champion, rode the unriddable bull. So yeah, he had this glamour, coming, behind him. And I think whenever he died, that's when it really took off, because after he died, I believe Cody Lambert was the ones who they invented the vest for bull riders.
After that.
So him dying actually saved so many bull riders, because that's how he died. Bull hooked him in the ribs and lung pierced his heart.
Yeah. Did he get killed in Quanah?
No.
Cheyenne.
Have you ridden there? Cheyenne?
Yes,
what's
sir.
that like?
Oh man, it's
big
history,
rodeo.
man. And
is it the granddaddy of them all, like they say on 8 Seconds when they're flying in?
Oh yeah, it's the daddy of them all, man. That's what
I've never
it is.
seen that movie.
It's a bad.
You've never seen 8 Seconds?
No.
Jeff, you gotta watch
I
it.
watched it.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
He dies. I know what happens.
Have you seen the video of it? It didn't look like it was that big of a shot, but I guess it just hit him in the right spot.
And that's the thing, man. With these bulls, they're so strong, man, that there's this, a lot of the left, sided wing people think we hurt these bulls.
Yeah.
Man, you can't hurt these damn bulls. They're so strong, man. I've had one, literally, he wasn't even trying to hook me. I was in front of him, and he just went like that, and there I go, flying through the air.
What did that weigh? 2,000 pounds?
Yes, sir. Nowadays, just because of the breeding, a really big bull in the PBR is going to be about 1,800. Once they used to be 2,000 pounds, but, selective breeding, you want to make the animal more athletic. So, for me, I think the bigger bulls are better to get along with than the smaller bulls.
Because they're not as athletic?
In a sense, yeah. Don't get me wrong. You do get some bulls that are 1,800 pounds and they buck like they're 1,100 pounds. But whenever you have a bigger bull, I feel like there's more timing. You got a bigger seat, of course. I've been on some bulls where their backs are, I can't even show you in the screen, how big their backs are. When you have a littler bull, they're more sporadic. They got more room in that buck and shoots, expose you whenever they're leaving. They're faster. So there's definitely, pros and cons to both sides of it.
The people don't realize this, talking about the left, you basically are riding a grizzly bear that ain't going to try to claw you. I mean, that's teeth. Yeah, I mean but I mean that the same kind of athletic, that creature is that just as athletic as that is. I saw a video the other day of a moose getting hit by a car and it just keeps running. 2,000 pound moose hits a car, totals a fucking car out. Moose does 3-4 flips and walks off and runs off. Those animals are huge and they're solid fucking muscle. You're not hurting that. You're not hurting that fucking bull by riding it. And I'm assuming the genetics in that bull that's a game to that bull, and he loves what he's doing. He wants to perform just like you do.
Oh yeah,
he knows
I
the game.
Tell, when people have questions about the bucking bulls, I say it's just like the racehorse business. I've seen guys turn down $80,000, $140,000 for bulls. So they take care of these animals because it's how they put food on the table.
Have you ever seen any of these bulls when they're not in the arena? I wonder what they're like whenever they're just out at their ranch that they go to in the off season. I wonder if they're always just this shithead that has to be
feeding them gunpowder
in his own pen or if they're just kind of this regular bull.
So it's funny how you say that, man, because these bulls, they're smarter than we give them credit for, man. They all have their personalities. Mm-hmm. Some bulls, they're pissed off from the get-go. Even at home, they're pissed off. But, man, I know bulls where I've seen stock contractors in the back pens put their 3-month-old baby on the back of that bull in the pen while feeding him with his hand.
Really?
And that bull, the bull won't do nothing. The bull just sits there like a dog. You can pet him, scratch him. I used to pet all over Bruiser. Bruiser would lick you on the cheek if you let him.
Really?
Oh yeah, and then there's some bulls like, for example, Punisher. When you're putting your rope on him, he don't give a damn about you. When you're getting on him in the chute, he don't give a damn about you. But as soon as he's done bucking you off, oh man, he is gonna just wear you out, wear you down on the ground. So they all have their personalities. We call that, when a bull's like that, where he's real chill in the back pens and he wants to get all pissy in the buck and shoot, we just say he likes to play rodeo. He knows the game. He's here to do.
So they'll put their 3-month-old baby on it and feed it with their hand, and he's just chill as can be. And then you put him in that chute, and he's just a menace.
Oh yeah, like a switch. They know the game, man.
How much selective breeding has changed the landscape of professional bull riding? Because I gotta imagine back in the 80s that it was just kind of whatever somebody had, and now 40 years later, there's got to be a lot of genetic modification going on for these guys, because the ornerier the bull, the more money they're going to make.
So I heard a story, and this story was I believe it was in the 90s, the late 90s, when it was starting to come up. Ty Murray's uncle or something bought about 100 or 500 head of bulls. Let's just say 100, so I'm not exaggerating. He bought 100 head of bulls, and 0 were PBR quality bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, man, like, you gotta have, like, here in Texas, everyone has rank shit. When I say rank, I mean that buck's hard.
Yeah.
And you still won't see those bulls at the PBR. When you think they should be, the guy who's putting them in doesn't agree with you. Like, nowadays, man, it's really hard just to find, let me say this, like a practice bull.
Mm-hmm.
Like, back in the day when I was growing up, you can find some old campaigner, get on them for practice, has good timing and all that. But nowadays, man, everything is juiced up. Everything is hot and bred from the best. It's real rare you find a bucking bull nowadays with no papers.
Now, let me ask you this: is there any drug testing that goes on your end? Like, what about like steroids and stuff? Would you be allowed to take steroids if you wanted to get a professional edge, or is that banned in your league?
So we don't get drug tested.
You do not?
I know the bulls do,
okay,
when they're competing at a young age, but we don't get drug tested. And I believe that's because bull riding is not a strength,
right.
sport. Now, I do agree that if people were taking, testosterone or anything, it would be tremendous health benefits when it comes to healing and recovering. But really, man, you just don't run across that. And like, for me, I'm already a shorter, stouter built guy. I feel like if I took steroids, man, it would almost
stiffen you up.
It wouldn't help me at all.
You would just get muscle bound and not be flexible, and it would hinder your game more than anything.
What about
you've already got a stocky build?
What about methamphetamines and stuff? Do they do test on that for that?
Hey, no, they don't test it, but I'm sure back in the day at those amateur rodeos, you might
there was
see
a bunch of
some
speed demons on that shit. Yeah,
could you imagine?
Yeah,
back in the 80s, like
I grew up in the 80s.
How else are you going to drive from El Paso to Fargo, North Dakota,
Black Beauties,
and get on a bull if you're not taking speed and cocaine?
We had a guy run for president that was doing that.
Who?
Hubert Humphrey. I just listened to a deal about it the other day that he was given black mollies by
what's a black molly?
It's a barbiturate, an amphetamine. It was and I'm sure my drug lingo.
So it's not a molly like I'm thinking
of? No.
No.
It's different. They used to call them black mollies. But anyways, he gave Tommy something in the Chandels, a singing group in the 60s, met this guy, and he was telling him he was having trouble with this shit. And he said, okay, well, if you're having trouble, what I'll do is I'll give you this. And he gave the vice president, and he took barbiturate all fucking year long on his campaign trail.
Yeah, it's speed.
So
by God, you're run for president, you'll be able to do for bulls.
Shit, I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, but what I was thinking, if they've got all these bulls that have been, genetically altered to where they can just be this machine in the arena, I would want to see the cowboy get whatever advantage that he thinks that he should be able to take.
Ice baths.
Yeah, ice bath is the way to go. You're all in on the ice bath.
Oh man, just because it makes the hurting, more durable.
Is there a particular instance where like you just got home and you were just wrecked all over, other than like obviously your neck injury, but like what's been the nastiest kind of bull hooks back around and roughs you up a little bit when you're on the ground?
Man, it's too many to say, really, man. I've been wrecked out quite a bit, especially growing up. It's funny to get good at bull riding. You got to get wrecked out. It's almost like the, what do you call it? The passage, the way of being a bull rider. You got to get stepped on. You got to get hung up, hooked, stomped. So I got all that out of the way, majority, hopefully, whenever I was in my teens. Now my job is to ride 8 seconds and land on my feet and get the hell out of there.
Because that's another part of the equation that the bull rider has to factor in is I got to figure out how to get off of this son of a bitch.
Oh,
like even when the buzzer goes off, I got to figure out how to dismount
and then get out of the way. Thank God for our bullfighters, because without them guys, man, let's just say this. I'll get on a full-grown grizzly with them 3 bullfighters in the arena. That's how much confidence I have in them.
Right. They'll save your life.
Oh, 100%.
What's it like getting hung up? Is that an oh shit moment?
Yeah, for sure. Every time I've been hung up, I'm literally just saying, help me, Jesus.
Help me, Jesus. Because you're 5'5".
Well, it doesn't matter if you're 6'10".
No, but I mean, he doesn't have the leverage.
Oh, well, still.
Does that make sense? Like, if you're hung up at 5'5" versus a guy that's 6'2" or whatever, like, you're kind of dangling there.
I like it because when I'm hung up, it's really rare they're gonna step on me because I may not be even touching the ground. If you're like 5'11", 6 foot, man, they're gonna be stepping on them legs. You're gonna be dragging.
And I mean, is that where a lot of injuries happen? Is whenever you're hung up, or is it just at just normal time?
Most of my injuries have happened in the buck and shoot growing up.
Really?
Because you're surrounded by metal.
Yeah.
Metal don't give. Yeah, you'll get banged up, man, getting hooked and stepped on. It's weird, man. I've seen guys get stepped on square in the chest and they walked away, nothing, just, bruised up. And then I've seen some guys who, man, they fell wrong and they broke their neck and now they can't ride no more.
Yeah.
It's so weird, man. Like, rest in peace, to one of our good buddies, Mason Lowe. He got stepped on the back in Denver, Colorado, and we just thought, oh, he just got a little scuffle. Sure enough, he fell down right in front of the buck and shoots after it happened, and he shortly passed away. So it's just to show, man, that it doesn't even have to look like a bad wreck. It can happen.
What happened to him? Did it crush his internal organs, or what? How did he?
Yeah, pretty much bull stepped on his ribs. Same thing with Lane Frost. Stepped on his ribs, punctured his heart. From my understanding, I don't want to put it out there because that's what I've heard.
And he was wearing a vest also, and it generated enough force to do that.
Yes, sir.
Boy, Jesus, you're staring at death every time, my man.
Every weekend, man. That's how I live my life.
What's your wife think about all this? Is she? I'm sure she's all in on this, but like she's got to be worried about you.
Oh yeah, man. We pray quite a bit before, after. Man, we're very thankful, for God's protection, because in this sport you need as much help as you can get.
Absolutely. Well, listen, my man, we've kept you over an hour now, and I know you've got a lot better things to do than jabber with us. So when is the next rodeo? Where's it at?
We got Sacramento, California this weekend.
When do you leave? It's Tuesday right now.
He's flying. He ain't driving no more.
You're flying?
Yeah.
You got.
Oh, yeah. We flying out Thursday.
Ooh, weather permitting. God bless you, man, and good luck to you.
You flying out of DFW or Love Field?
Love Field.
That's the way to go?
Oh, yeah, man. I don't like DFW.
Too big.
Too many people. Oh, yeah.
So how much, last question, how much carry-on shit do you have to take, or do you pack pretty light?
Oh, I pack light, man. I got my backpack with all my clothes and essentials and my rigging bag. Rigging bag's pretty big.
Check that under the plane, or are you not going to let them lose it?
Oh, no, I check it, man. And there's there's actually been some stories where guys lose their rigging bags and they start borrowing everything.
It probably happens quite often too.
Especially state of the airline now.
Oh, yeah, man. That's why I always fly in the day before, so if anything happens, I'm prepared for it.
Well, that's the way. Listen, man, we're going to be rooting for you the rest of the year. Good luck in Sacramento this weekend. Listen, we'd love to do this in person. Anytime you're out here in West Texas, give us a holler, and we'll sit down with you and crank up studio and fire away, bud.
Hell yeah, Andy and Josh. I appreciate y'all, man. And y'all, I really enjoyed y'all's podcast, man. I like the style. I like how y'all are real and raw.
I appreciate it.
Man, I would love to be part of it once again in the studio. I'm very thankful for the opportunity y'all gave me.
We'd love to have you here. My favorite Italian bull rider now. You take care of yourself.
See, I'm gonna let you know how that how that ice bath is going. I'll hit you up once I get started on it. We're going skiing this weekend, so whenever we get back, I'm full bore into the ice bath.
Just dip your nuggets in the snow out back for 2 minutes. You'll be fine.
Hell, man, you probably have to dig them out from your stomach for how cold it is out here.
All right, bud. Good luck this weekend. Talk to you later.
Appreciate y'all,
Thank
man.
you.
Y'all take care.
Bye.
Very interesting young man. What a life.
I'm not cut out for that.
No, there's no way. I'm going to tell you what, it takes some huge balls to do that. I don't care who you are, that right there. There ain't very many jobs I can think of that would make me any more nervous than being a rodeo guy.
Have you seen the video of the father protecting the son?
Yes, I have.
Really?
I just can't imagine that. That's a tough life right there. And that's like I said, it takes some real balls to do that shit.
He just jumped in, never even thought about it.
It's crazy.
I got to tear this down.
All right. You ready to get out of here?
Hold on. We're going to look at this video. There he comes. And that wasn't that bad. Like
No.
the bull really could have.
Wait, that right there is the love a dad has for his son.
He must have been born
Boom.
before 94.
Oof. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would ride a bull without wearing a helmet.
He is out cold. Have you seen Lane Frost dying?
I don't want to see that shit.
It ain't.
That's why I
nothing.
didn't watch the movie.
It's not a big blow.
I was thinking for some reason he died in Quanah, Texas. I don't know why I thought that.
It's where his wife was from.
Oh, okay, that's what I knew. Quanah was in the picture somehow.
Not Kelly Jean, I don't think.
That's Clay Reed's wife.
Kelly Kyle. Quanah, Texas, home of Kelly Kyle. We're going to skip that.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
Boom. That's too bad. All right.
But he gets up. So this goes back to what that doctor was saying about Hamlin. About 6 seconds. Ooh. But he gets up and runs away.
I don't want to watch that.
And then he just he collapses.
I don't want to watch it.
Well, Jeff.
Well, I'm not going to watch it. I've got my head down. I ain't looking at that shit.
Don't be a
I don't want to see
sissy.
somebody. I don't want to see somebody die.
You don't want to see their last moments?
No, not at all. Nothing about life isn't that good. All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all listening to
You
us.
should go watch 8 seconds.
I'm not going to watch 8 seconds.
Not going to watch 8 seconds either.
No.
Luke Perry's dead now, too. So Lane Frost and the guy that played Lane Frost are
Yeah. There's a lot of movies like that.
both gone. Anyway, that was fun. I had a
Very enjoyable podcast.
He's a good-
Interesting guy. Wish him the best. Hope he hits that gold buckle and that $1 million check.
Jeff, do the ice bath with me. Not while I'm
I'm
in
not
there.
taking a bath with you, Andy.
Do
That ain't happening.
do it at your own house. Do it at your own speed.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to us.
You got
God bless y'all.
You got a pool. You
and
just
have a
jump
great
right
week.
in it.
Yeah, that thing's nasty looking right now.
Well, then you'll boost your immunities also. You don't
That's
even.
no shit.
You'll boost your immunities, and then you'll have all the benefits of the
Get
cold
alligator
plunge.
fungus. All right. Thank y'all for listening to us. Come to Turkey Federation. Come by and see me. Be at the Boss booth. Come look me up. Go see all of our sponsors there. Tell them we sent you from the Big Honker Podcast. Peace. God bless.
Deuces. Go check out our sponsors. Go to Gundog Outdoors. Get everything. Get the field trauma kit. You need that year round. Check out Shin Gear. Not just a waiter company anymore. Pacific Calls, Dive Bomb Industries, Boss Shot Shells, Mossberg, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, Double T British Kennels, Ducks Unlimited, Dirty Duck Coffee, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Bangtail Whiskey, Alpha Outdoors, and Hunt Proof app.